Alhamdulillah, we have first internationally certified Dr. Aisha Ghyas with us, who's trained for this job and she has developed a very nice team. So we are doing all these procedures and all these investigative things on a very meticulously planned papers and documentations. And we have a large database to share with all of our colleagues so that our youngsters, the younger consultants, the PGRs, they are well versed with the use and how to retrieve and how to then translate it into knowledge and how to work it for patient, because even if it is 1 in 1 million, it may make a difference of life and death between patients of different pigmentary things. So I think this webinar is going to be very useful, and I'll invite now Dr. Aisha Ghyas to please take over this webinar, because we don't want to waste, we already wasted a few minutes in the beginning. So thank you very much, everyone. Hope everyone learns at least few things from it. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. And God bless you.
Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So this was Professor Tahir Jameel Saab. Now I'm handing over the chair to Professor Ashar Saab. तो सर अशर की प्रेजेंटेशन सर स्क्रीन शेयर कभी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो सर प्लीज स्टार्ट योर प्रेजेंटेशन थैंक
Thank you.
यू
Thank you.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Thank you, Professor Tahir Jameel. Thank you, Dr. Aisha Ghyas, and thank you, Serving Health, for arranging this webinar. And dermoscopy has always fascinated me and many of us once we are practicing dermatology. But despite of this fascination, most of us don't practice it in day-to-day practice, because we think that the pigmented lesions are not our headache, and the dermoscopy is mainly restricted to the pigmented lesions, so there is no particular reason going for the learning and understanding of this technique. But being a dermatopathologist and being doing dermatopathology since such a long time, I have come to the conclusion that dermoscopy is really very important, and it is not only important for the benign and malignant tumors, but it is also important for the inflammatory dermatosis, whose present pictures are very rapidly coming up in the literature vis-a-vis the dermatopathology and dermoscopic findings. This is a technique all clinical dermatologists should know of, and as rightly said by Professor Tahir, that it is the stethoscope of dermatologists. And my talk is not particularly on the dermoscopy, but it is just a small relevance of dermoscopy with the dermatopathology. The detailed description of dermoscopy and its introduction will be dealt with by Dr. Aisha Ghyas. So this is a dermoscope, and it is not an expensive instrument. I have bought a dermoscope of around about 100,000 once I was attending a conference in USA, and a good dermoscope in which you can mount a mobile with a camera would cost around about 100,000. So dermoscope is being increasingly used by dermatologists for the clinical management decision. So remember that this is a tool of clinicians. This is not a tool of dermatopathologists. Dermoscopic findings or images provide to the pathologist may help them in interpreting the histology slides. So usually what is the practice in the West, that they send the dermoscopic images to the laboratory and helping them that where and how to pick up these malignant conditions. Most dermoscopic structures have direct histopathological correlates, and therefore dermoscopy can act as an excellent communication bridge between a clinician and a pathologist. Dermoscopy is increasingly used by the clinicians. However, uh, most of these using dermoscope remain unaware of the dermoscopic and histopathological correlation. Acquiring this knowledge, that is the dermoscopic knowledge, has many implications. It improves the clinician's diagnostic accuracy, especially dealing with the pigmented lesions and benign and malignant tumors. It provides useful clues to the pathologist, and it has a prognostic significance. That is, you can see the dermoscopic image of suspected lesion serially, not only by your unaided eye, but also through the dermoscope, and help determine from where and when the lesion is to be biopsied. This is a problem when there are multiple pigmented lesions, most of which look malignant or are suspected to be atypical. Then, by the help of dermoscope, you can determine which lesion is to be biopsied and which lesion is to be excised, and give the management of the skin cancers. Colors in dermoscopy in relation to depth and structure. So the dermoscope has the two features, that is the colors and the architecture. Colors under the lens of dermoscope depends on the type and location of the chromophobes in the skin. The most relevant color when evaluating a cutaneous neoplasm with the dermoscope include black, brown, blue, gray, yellow, orange, red, and white. Blood usually gives a red color, and all the blood vessels will be highlighted as red. Sebum keratin as yellow and collagen as white. So whenever there is fibrosis, you will see a white color. Wherever there is sebum or keratin plugs, there will be a yellow color. So melanin, which is the main chromophobe in a dermoscope, in the stratum corneum or in superficial epidermis will have a black color. So the superficial placed melanocytes will give a black color through a dermoscope. And when it is giving a brown color, it means that the melanocytes are present in the lower epidermis. When it is giving a grayish hue, it means that the melanocytes are present in the papillary dermis. And when it is giving a blue color, it means that the melanocytes are present deep in the dermis. So by determining the color, you can judge that where these melanocytes are located. The dermoscopic images of pigmented lesions are different in benign and malignant lesions. The main feature of a benign lesion is the symmetry of architecture. There are different architectural patterns in benign lesions. And once this symmetry is disturbed, it means that the malignancy is setting in. And the level of the effect on the architecture determines the level of the malignancy which has set in the lesion. So one of the very peculiar and typical presentation on a dermoscope is the pigmentary network. These are the lines and the reticular framework or grid-like arrangement. Histologically, these lines correspond to the increased pigment along the reti ridges seen in melanocytic nevi and dermatofibroma. So this is an increased pigmentation which is seen in the reti ridges. This will give this reticulate or line-like appearance on a dermoscope. Negative network consists of serpiginous hypopigmented lines that surround the hyperpigmented, elongated to curvilinear globular structures. The negative network correspond to the hypopigmented elongated reti ridges. Hypopigmented elongated reti ridges bridging and surrounding large nests of melanocytes. You can see these are the reti ridges that are surrounding the nest of melanocytes. So these hypopigmented reti ridges that are binding this network will give negative color, and this network will give the brown color. Then angulated lines are linear lines forming a zigzag pattern. This pattern is suggestive of a lentigo. Histopathologically, the angulated lines correspond to a flattened dermoepidermal junction and proliferation of confluent atypical junctional melanocytes. atypical junctional melanocytes. Then globules are clots, small, round, or oval, usually brown to black structures. Um, Black when they are superficial, and brown when it is just at the junction of epidermis and dermis. Histopathology, they correspond to the melanocytic nest at the dermoepidermal junction, whereas the blue globules represent nests located in the reticular dermis. As I've already told you, that the blue color in dermoscope means that the melanocytes are present deep in the dermis. So these are the nests of melanocytes seen at the junction, and this looks like globules while looking through a dermoscope. Then streaks, lines, radial, always at the periphery, are radial projections that are located at the periphery of the lesion. Histopathology corresponds to the confluent junctional nest of pigmented melanocytes at the periphery. So these is a starburst pattern, and you see on histology, these are the intradermal portion of melanocytes which are seen at the periphery of the main lesion. Homogeneous blue pattern. Blue color means that the melanocytes are present deep into the reticular dermis. So it highlights the dermal population of melanocytes. It can be a blue nevus, it can be a combined nevus, or it can be a nodular melanoma. So this is a blue nevus, and this would look like a homogeneous blue mass once you look through a dermoscope. Then the dermoscopic structure with high specificity for non-melanocytic neoplasms. Several dermoscopic features are relatively specific to non-melanocytic neoplasms, such as the basal cell carcinomas like seborrheic keratosis and dermatofibromas. The presence of one of these structures can help in differentiating aggressive tumors from less aggressive tumors and help predicting the tumor subtypes. This picture in dermoscope is called as the blue-gray ovoid nests, globules or dots, which appear as random buckshot scatter pattern. They correspond to small BCC tumor nests in the dermis. So this is the blue globules, and it correlates with the nodular form of BCC in the upper dermis. Then leaf-like brown areas which are projecting from a common base. Histologically, this is appearance of pigmented BCC, and seen on histology as nest of basaloid cells with pigmentation within the dermis. So this gave a leaf-like brown pattern on the dermoscopy. Then another interesting pattern is a strawberry pattern. This is erythematous globules which correspond to the blood vessels, and then there are partially thickness keratinocyte atypia and keratin in follicular ostia and increased vasculature. So this white dots are the keratin in the follicular ostia. So this is an actinic keratosis. You can see this follicular plugging. This follicular plugging looks like these keratin dots in a background of red erythema. White circles or bright white circles surrounding an orange-yellow keratin plug. So orange-yellow keratin plug surrounded by a white circle. This corresponds again to the follicular plugging seen in well-differentiated squamous cell carcinomas or keratoacanthomas. These are the white plug with surrounding halo and with a background of erythema. So this is a picture. You can see this looks quite like the seborrheic squamous cell carcinoma, and it is a well-differentiated squamous cell carcinoma. If squamous cell carcinoma is poorly differentiated, then this symmetrical architecture will be disturbed. Then dark dots or globules in linear arrangement as seen in pigmented SCC in situ. Histologically, they represent clusters of atypical basal pigmented keratinocytes. So in carcinoma in situ or Bowen's disease, you the dermoscopic appearance is in a form of linear or dark dots and globules. Milia-like cysts are white to yellow round structures that shine brightly under a non-polarized dermoscopy. Histologically, they again represent the keratin cysts and are typical of seborrheic keratosis. So seborrheic keratosis is again characterized by numerous keratin plugs, which give a milia-like cyst appearance on a dermoscope. Comedo-like openings are round or oval brown to black epidermal invagination. They correspond to the epidermal invagination filled with keratin. Again, this appearance is seen in seborrheic keratosis. These are the comedons, comedo-like, these are the milia-like. And this appearance is also seen in the intradermal nest of intradermal melanocytes. Then another appearance, which is a combination of a white patch and a net pattern. So the white patch represents the fibrosis, and the net pattern represents the pigmented epidermal invaginations or retirages. So this is a fibrosis which is present in the center of a dermatofibroma. This fibrotic appearance will give a white color in the center of this dermoscopic image. So in addition to these pictures, the blood vessels and type of blood vessels also help in differentiating different type of benign and malignant tumor. Like in BCC, you can see this arborizing the net pattern type vessels or the serpentine vessels. In angiomas, hemangiomas, there will be lake of red colors, and dotted vessels will be seen in Spitz nevus and in melanoma. And in intradermal nevus, the vessels are comma-shaped. Glomerular vessels are seen in squamous cell carcinoma. In melanoma, there is a disturbed kind of vasculature. There are comma-shaped vessels and serpentine vessels, etc. So there will be a disarray in vascular structure as well. So I would like to conclude my talk by saying that the dermoscopic feature of all benign and malignant lesions have a histopathological correlation. Understanding and appreciating these correlates can improve a clinician's diagnostic accuracy and can guide the clinician in selecting the most appropriate area from which to obtain a biopsy specimen. In addition, dermoscopy can also help inform the dermatopathologist in deciding the most appropriate area within the lesion to section and gives important diagnostic clue. I thank you all for patient listening. And now I hand over the mic to Dr. Aisha Ghias for her talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Asher. We're so grateful. You've done a great job correlating the clinical with the histological features. Dr. Aisha, please continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
It was indeed an enlightening talk और सर ने मेरा काम बड़ा आसान कर दिया है क्योंकि यही चीज़ें हैं जिनको मैंने थोड़ा डिटेल से बताना था. सर अपना स्क्रीन शेयर काइंडली ऑफ कर दें.